next week. That's against Bolivia. Full coverage of that one on Sports. But this is our World Cup send-off match. It's Scotland against Curaçao. This is a huge day for the country as we send them off to the finals in the States. Live commentary, Willie Miller and Alistair Lamont.
Welcome to Hampden Park, the national stadium, as Scotland play their final home World Cup warm-up match against Dick Advocaat's Curaçao, themselves preparing for a very first appearance at the World Cup, ranked one place above Haiti and from the same CONCACAF qualifying region. This could serve as very useful preparation for what is to come for Scotland. Grey skies over Hampden this afternoon, intermittent rain, which will make that beautiful lush pitch nice and slick. The Tartan Army have turned out in good numbers to watch this farewell performance before the players, and no doubt a good percentage of these fans, make their way to the United States. We've just had a wonderful tifo around Hampden, reading "No Scotland, no party" around 2/3 of the stadium. We just await the arrival of the players, who are currently gathered in the tunnel, waiting to make their way onto the Hampden pitch. Still looking at the Curaçao strip today. It's almost like the Scotland 1986 away kit, all yellow. Really nice one. As Andy Robertson stands at the head of the Scotland queue, the man who's about to depart Liverpool, a bit like his former manager Arne Slot, who've just had news leaving Liverpool after a disappointing season for them. But not disappointing for Scotland this last year. And here come the teams led by the Georgian officials out that huge tunnel, and we have got a pyrotechnic display for the supporters as the players and fans alike are given a huge send-off for what promises to be the summer of their lives. Such a long wait to get back to the pinnacle of world football. And Scotland will be taking their place. Just 15 days from now, they will face Haiti just outside Boston. And Curaçao themselves, as I mentioned, under Dick Advocaat, qualifying for the very first time. And they also get underway on the 14th of June against Germany. We're going to have the national anthems now, starting with Curaçao. National anthem. A little bit of sunshine came out in the south side of Glasgow as that was played, and now it's Flower of Scotland. a stirring rendition of the national anthem, almost as if this were a meaningful game. Well, it is meaningful in lots of ways, as these players look to put on a good performance, a positive performance in front of their home fans before making their way to the States. The two sets of players going through the handshakes. Scotland all in navy blue this afternoon, and Curaçao all in yellow, and led by their manager Dick Advocat, who knows these parts well as a former Rangers manager. And at 78 he's about to become the oldest ever manager at a World Cup, having been there previously himself with the Netherlands, his homeland, back the last time it was in the USA actually in 1994. Also took charge of South Korea in 2006. About 800 or so Curaçao fans have made their way to Hampden, away to our left. They'll be looking to have a good afternoon here, but the Scotland fans, not quite a sellout, but lots of the home shirts, the navy shirts, but also the salmon pink ones, the change kit, proving very popular with the supporters, and many turning out here at Hampden this afternoon with that one. Some thoughts then from Willie Miller just before kick-off as the teams prepare to get us underway. Willie, what are you looking for from this one?
Oh, just a positive performance. I think that's what the nation needs, and the team needs that as well. I think a bit of continuity in terms of the players that are out there. You know, some of the mainstays are not participating this afternoon for obvious reasons, but it gives an opportunity for other fringe players to get the eye of Steve Clarke. But you know, a bit of positivity going into such an important period. One more friendly game coming up, and then it's the real stuff once you get to the USA, and once you get into the competitive stage of the 3 games, and hopefully qualification out of the group and into the knockout stages. That would be the first time for Scotland ever.
Yeah, that's the dream, isn't it? Scotland then ready to get us underway. It looks like they will kick us off, going from left to right as we look at it from the upper tier of the main stand here at Hampden Park. Curaçao in a little huddle, led by their captain Leandro Bacuna, former Aston Villa player among other clubs, now 34 years of age, playing in the midfield alongside his brother Juninho Bacuna, who served 6 months or so up at Rangers a few years back. It will then be Scotland in the shape of Billy Gilmour to kick us off, as Scotland look to end a decade of winless run in terms of friendlies at Hampden Park, and Scotland get us underway. And it's an early touch for Aaron Hickey, and then Ben Gannon-Doak out to the right hand side. John Souttar picks up possession. Hasn't played a great deal of football in the last couple of months for Rangers, dropping out of the side with Nasser Giga and Manny Fernandez preferred to him, but starts for Scotland this afternoon. Here's Aaron Hickey, who missed the March friendlies through injuries, missed so much football through injury. Out to Robertson, left hand side. Ryan Christie looks like he's starting over on that left side of midfield. Picks up. Scotland enjoying the early possession here in Glasgow. Still pretty balmy despite the sun having disappeared in the last couple of days. Still warm. That's given away by Gilmour, and first touch really, and the first opportunity for Curaçao to move forward. It's Bacuna finding Locadia up forward, and then for Chong, who just shepherded out a play well by Scott McKenna in the end. But a loose pass early on from Billy Gilmour, which we're not all that familiar with, Willie, but it has just crept into his play. I suppose maybe trying a pass that wasn't necessarily on in the early stages.
Yeah, I mean, I think you know, because possession was kept you know, amongst the back four really, then he wanted to try to get it forward a little bit earlier, and maybe too ambitious, too adventurous. It was a poor pass by his standard, that's for sure.
Christie just managing to keep the ball after good work by George Hurst on the left hand side. It's Christie for Hurst once more. The Ipswich man with the peroxide blonde hair just knocks the ball out of play rather carelessly, looking to try and play it back to Christie, but gives Curaçao the throw-in over on the far side. Looks like Curaçao are lining up with the back five to start off with. And Locadia looks like will lead the line with support from Chong and Juninho Bacuna. Here is Aaron Hickey back into Suter just inside his own half, bringing it up to the halfway line is Kenny McLean from where he scored just a few months back against Denmark. Played out to the left hand side, Robertson forward to Christie, who's fouled, and Scotland will get a free kick left hand side midway inside the Curaçao half.
It's an opportunity, isn't it, depending on the quality of the free kick into the box to, you know, get Curaçao's defence tested. Actually, it's Andy Robertson out there that's taking it. Andy Robertson is looking to whip it in and just put it into that space, I think, between defence, forwards and goalkeeper, and just get them tested.
Let's see if Scotland can get off to a good start as Robertson sends it in. It's Hurst who gets his head to it, but he's just stretching and sends it wide of target. There might have been an option right behind him. Was it John Suter who was coming in just at the back of him, and if he'd left it for Suter, maybe he had the better opportunity to get a header on target. As it is, George Hurst's effort goes a few yards wide of goal. It'll be the first goal kick of the game to Curaçao. 3 minutes in, Scotland 0, Curaçao 0.
He's got to leave it. It's Suter's header. You know, I don't know if there was a shout from John Suter or not, but Hurst obviously, you know, very keen to get something on it, but Suter's free. If he leaves that, I think Suter's got a better opportunity to find the back of the net.
From the replay, it didn't look like Suter was shouting to let him know that he was behind him, as Shanklin chases a ball forward, but it's nodded back to the goalkeeper Eloy Room, who plays for Miami. Incidentally, this Curaçao squad, virtually all of them born in the Netherlands, clearly of Curaçao descent to some extent or another, as they try and come forward here. It's Gannon Doak who's having to go back and do a bit of defending here to repel the ball. Gets it to Hickey, who does well. Looked like he was probably fouled, and the referee agrees, and it will be a free kick to Scotland. But Curaçao already looking lively when they pick up on the counter, Willie.
They do. They enjoy very quickly, you know, the transition from defence into attack, and Gannon Doak playing a major part there in making sure that he didn't neglect his defensive duties.
Ball's played over the halfway line by the goalkeeper Room and picked up by Juninho Bacuna left hand side, but there's a free kick going Scotland's way. Not sure if he's seen a handball in there.
It was an elbow. It was an elbow. You know, I don't think it was meant by any means. It was Billy Gilmer that caught it in the face, and I think the referee was pretty sharp and actually seeing the infringement.
Yeah, I didn't notice it myself, but it's a kind of handoff once we see the replay, isn't it? And the referee penalising Juninho Bacuna for that. 0-0 then in the early stages here at Hampden Park, as Shanklin with a nice little interchange with Gannon Doak, who's now at the edge of the penalty area. It's a poor cross in the end. Neither cross nor shot really in the end from the Bournemouth winger, and in a really good position on the right hand side. You expect better from him there, Willie.
Oh, he knows it as well. He's bitterly disappointed. He's got 2 targets in the box as well. He just has to, I think, even just roll it. I don't know why he's trying to give it height. It's a magnificent little 1-2 there with Shanklin. He's in, he's got his pace. He just needs to show composure. He's got to just maybe slow it down a little bit and try to pick out one of the 2 strikers that were making advances forward.
Is that a result of a little bit of rustiness, perhaps, a lack of football?
I would think so, yeah. I would put it down to that anyway in the early stages of this game. But, you know, the good aspect of it was a little 1-2 that he played, and the pace that he showed to get in behind, you know, that Curaçao defence, and then it just needed composure that he didn't show.
Robertson finds Hurst, but he just takes a slightly clumsy touch. I think he probably thought the defender, Julian Gary, was going to get there in front of him, and when it did come to Hurst, it bounced off his shins and behind for a goal kick. We've played 6 minutes here at Hampden Park. It's been a decent enough start from Scotland, but no goals as yet between them and Curaçao. And it'll be a goal kick to the visitors. Eloy Room of Miami sends it up towards the halfway line. Christie can't get there under pressure from Chong, and it'll be picked up in the midfield by the Curaçao side and try and come forward. And it's the 2 Bacuna brothers linking. It's Juninho who takes it onto the byline, gets the better of Hickey. He's done really well here, left hand side, low ball in, away by Suter. Wasn't such a good ball in from Juninho Bacuna, but he did really well to beat Hickey in the first stage of that. Gilmour sends it forward. Hurst will try and latch onto it. Just good covering by the Curaçao defender Bazur, and he gets it back to his goalkeeper. But Hickey was pretty comfortably beaten there by Juninho Bacuna, Willie. That was dangerous.
It was, yeah. I mean, they show really quick intent getting forward, don't they? You know, it's obviously a team that quite enjoys soaking up the pressure, but very quickly can, you know, transfer the ball forward and cause issues. And yeah, Hickey struggled a little bit there with Bacuna. It was good play by the Curaçao. What is it? A supporting midfield player. He's one of two players that are supporting the main striker.
Out for a throw-in over on the far side to Scotland. Robertson takes it quickly into Christie. He actually fouled his marker Gary as he tried to spin away from him, and Curaçao will have the free kick just on the edge of the penalty area. We've played almost 8 minutes at the National Stadium. 0-0 it stands. You listen to our coverage of the last home friendly between Scotland and Curaçao before they head to the World Cup on BBC Radio Scotland and 5 Live Sport, as well as BBC Sounds, as Gilmour's taken down in the centre circle, and it will be a Scotland free kick. The defeat by Japan here in the last home friendly means they've gone 10 games and a decade since their last win in a friendly at home. That came against Denmark of all teams back in March 2016. The record generally in friendlies is pretty dismal, as Shanklin plays out to the right hand side, and Gannon Doak trying to get the better of his man, and he has done, and he gets the ball into the box. It's knocked away from the edge of the 6, but Gilmour picks up, then Shanklin into Christie, lets it come on his left foot. Now it's Robertson, drives it goal just wide from the skipper. That looked like it was travelling and not too far away from the post, but just the wrong side as far as Andy Robertson is concerned. And after 9 minutes, it's Scotland 0, Curaçao 0.
Well, it looked that would have been a magnificent strike. It was a magnificent strike, just a little bit wide of the target, well set up as well. Some really sharp play, and then Christie setting it up for Andy Robertson, who whizzed that one forward. We're getting a little bit of a view of it now, just to see how it wasn't too far away, was it? Just skims by the post.
Yeah, it looked like maybe a yard, half a yard, very, very close to Andy Robertson's 5th goal for his country and his 93rd cap. He is narrowing that gap on Kenny Dalglish, the record cap holder for Scotland, and this will take him just 9 behind Dalglish, as Curaçao try and play out from the back. They've got it deep in their own half over on the right hand side. Eventually it's just clipped up towards the halfway line, knocked out of play there by John Souttar over on the far side. Almost 10 on the clock, and still goalless between Scotland and Curaçao, as I say, led by Dick Advocat, 78 years old. It shows no signs of losing his appetite for football, as McKenna knocks it out now on the far side. It'll be a Curaçao throw-in. They've made a good number of yards just up towards the edge of the Scotland penalty area now, and an opportunity perhaps to load the box, potentially a long throw-in on the cards here, as Curaçao look to try and silence this big Scotland crowd. And it comes to the penalty area. Scotland deal with it well, flicked on by Gilmour. Christie can't gather it in though, and will be picked up by Gary on that right hand side. Here he is trying to move away from Gilmour, back to the halfway line it goes, and then forward for Juninho Bacuna. He's been beaten this time by Hickey and then fouled, and Scotland get the free kick just a few yards inside Curaçao territory. Talking of Curaçao territory, they've only been a country in their own right since 2011, former Dutch colony, already making their mark on the world stage when it comes to football, as Souttar has it on the halfway line, gets it back from Kenny McLean. Souttar out to Hickey, right hand side, closed down, but gets the ball forward. It's Gilmour that's made the run down the right hand side, tracked by Leandro Bacuna this time. Little Napoli midfielder Gilmour trying to twist away from Bacuna. It'll come now for Gannon Doak. Here's Kenny McLean, midway inside the Curaçao half, plays it to his left to McKenna, and then further left to Robertson. Into the feet of George Hurst. Can he hold it up? Looks like he might have been fouled there, but the referee says no, nothing wrong with the challenge, as Hurst hit the ground, and now Curaçao can come forward on the counter once more. They've got bodies forward, 4 all in yellow coming forward. It's into Chong of Sheffield United, trying to spin away from McKenna. back the way he goes. Scotland now getting bodies back into defensive areas to thwart that potential counter. Still it's Curaçao though in possession, but they've pretty much started again from the halfway line. It's Obispo of PSV out to the left hand side, picked up by Fonville, the left wing back, one of many players who plies his trade in the Netherlands. He plays for Zwolle in the Eredivisie there. Clip forward, one for Locadia to chase. He's done well to hold it up under pressure there from Suter. Now he's got help in the shape of Chong. Chong, about 35 yards from goal, rolls it into Leandro Bacuna, into his brother Juninho, trying to twist away from Hickey. Looks like he might have been fouled again. The referee keeps his whistle silent. No free kick for Curaçao on this occasion as Gannon-Doak picks up from Gilmore, and then back to Gilmore once more inside his own half. Hickey on the angle of the box. Looks like that contest between Juninho, Bacuna and Hickey could be really important.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. There's no doubt about that. And you know, Curaçao looks okay. They look as though you know, they've got a good understanding. They're obviously well organised. I think Dick Advocate has got them well organised. They enjoy going back and folding back and defending, but when they get the opportunity, they like to go forward very quickly, and also they put Scotland under pressure very quickly as well. So you can see a lot of work as went on in the training field, and they look as though they can build up as well. Their passes and their passing is pretty sharp too. So you know, I think Scotland, till they get that first goal, I think once you get that first goal, it'll be interesting to see how Curaçao actually react to that, and you do hope that Scotland get that first goal, but they haven't had too many opportunities so far.
Both managers out at the edges of their technical area. Steve Clark with his hands behind his back, arms folded for Dick Advocat, who still looks like a stern figure as he shouts instructions on to his players. Not a man you would cross readily. Neil McCann, among others, have told us stories about Dick Advocate and his Rangers days, and a very successful manager over the years, as well. As Scotland try and build on the right hand side, it's Gannon-Doak, good first touch to kill the pass, and then he tries to take on Fonville. He hasn't got the better of him on this occasion, and actually he's pulled him back in trying to do so, and Curaçao will get the free kick inside their own penalty area. We've almost played a quarter of an hour now, and it's still Scotland 0, Curaçao 0.
That was a brilliant pass, so was it, from Billy Gilmore out to Gannon-Doak, and he's trying to use his pace, but I think you know what he needs to do against Fonville is maybe use his body a little bit better. You know, maybe a bit of a dip of the shoulder one way and try to take him the other way. Because he looks reasonably quick himself. He does the wing back, and so far Gannon-Doak's not really got the better of him. That one opportunity that he's delivering into the box wasn't particularly good. He's got another chance now.
Yeah, here he is. Juninho Bacuna trying to get back with him. Gannon-Doak spins back the way in. Bacuna just knocks the ball out of play for a Scotland throw. And just looking at Lawrence Shankland, he looks, of the two strikers, he's just dropping off the front to try and collect possession, with Hurst playing right through the middle. Yeah. We know that's a good part of Shankland's game, that he can absolutely do, holding the ball up and linking the play.
Be good to see him getting a touch though. He's only had the one opportunity, isn't he? The little 1-2 with Gannon-Doak. He's working hard, right enough. His movement's good, but so far he hasn't really been taking part in the game.
Here's Hickey out to Gannon-Doak, a little 1-2, and Hickey just couldn't quite take it in his stride. That was promising had he been able to, but Curaçao pick up possession and then just knock the ball back to Obispo just at the edge of his own penalty area. Into the middle of the park now, it's Comenencia, who plays for Zurich, one of the midfielders, and back it goes to Bazur at the heart of the three-man defence. Out on that right hand side then to Florinus, and back to the goalkeeper up towards the halfway line. McKenna gets his head to it, nodded on by Shankland out to the left hand side. Robertson won't get there though, and it's mopped up and sent back to Eloy Room.
I just feel that Shankland could have taken that ball down in his chest there. You know, he's got to be aware that he wasn't marked in the position that he's in as well. I don't think that he will see too many yellow jerseys round about him.
And here at the other end comes Curaçao, and it's Chong trying to get the better of Suter. Can he get the shot away? Goal! Curaçao score, and their band of supporters away to our left rejoice as the players make their way across to them, and it's Tahith Chong with the breakaway, striking it past Craig Gordon, who's had nothing to do in these opening 16 and a half minutes, but it's Curaçao who celebrate. Chong mobbed by his teammates in front of the adoring supporters. It was just a counter-attack from Curaçao, which Chong was able to get the strike off and send it past Craig Gordon. And after 17 minutes at Hampden, it's Scotland 0, Curaçao 1.
Listen, it's a fabulous goal for Curaçao, and there's issues with it. I think Scott McKenna gets caught goal side, and he's struggling really to recover, and then John Shooter tries to cover for him. It's just a long ball. Scott's out of position. John Shooter trying to get over, but there's a lot of pace here from Kong, and by the time Scott McKenna gets back, you've got the two centre backs trying desperately to get a block in it, but what a strike. He just takes it onto his left foot, and it looks as though he's going to go for the far post. In fact, he goes for the near post, and it just clips the near post and ends up in the back of the net. The real first opportunity, their first chance, well taken.
Yeah, really well struck by Chong in off the near post, leaving Craig Gordon helpless. He hadn't scored all season for Sheffield United, but it's his third goal in just 5 international appearances for Curaçao, and he has given his side the advantage to somewhat silence the Tartan Army, and it's the small band of Curaçao fans who are making the noise, although Scotland trying to respond. Christie trying to feed. George Hurstey gets beyond the keeper, who got something on it though, and he's forced him wide. Comes back to Robertson, he tries to send it in, but that's gone onto the roof of the net and behind for a goal kick. Scotland almost with a quick retaliation, but unable to capitalise, and it remains Scotland 0, Curaçao 1.
Yeah, I think Broom, the goalkeeper, did extremely well there, coming off his line, because it looked as though Hurst was going to get a little touch past him. He's unfortunate as far as that touch didn't take it past the goalkeeper, who managed to get a hand on it. It was a good counter though, almost a very early equaliser, and a decent run from Hurst in behind the central defence, but just not being able to get that little touch before the goalkeeper.
Yeah, a lovely ball from Ryan Christie in behind, but maybe just fractionally too much on it and allowing the keeper to get that touch as Scotland look for a leveller here and trying to avoid a continuation of that woeful home records in friendly matches. It started brightly enough, albeit not really testing the goalkeeper, as Stephen Naismith and Steve Clark are in conversation at the edge of their technical area, trying to put things right on the pitch. 1-0 they trail with almost 20 played. Scotland get a free kick quickly taken. Gilmore out to the right hand side for Gannon Doak, about 25 yards from the goal line. Will he go inside, will he go outside? Goes outside and then spins back the way onto the left foot. Cross is blocked, and Curaçao will pick up possession just outside their own penalty area. It's Fonville on the left hand side, squeezes it infield and picked up by Comenencia out to the left hand side on the halfway line to the striker Locadia, and then there's a foul there on Leandro Bacuna, and Curaçao will get the free kick and a chance to build once more from this left hand side. 20 minutes gone, and it's the visitors who lead. They've never beaten a European side, and they were beaten in their March friendlies by both Australia and China, but they look a decent outfit. As the ball's played out to the right hand side, Christie going to try and close down. He half manages to do that, but it's helped on by Comenencia up to Locadia, who's another like his goalkeeper who plays for Miami in the second tier in the States. Scotland get the throw in, it's quickly taken, looking to get back on level terms as quickly as possible. Good link up between Shankland, and then Christie tries to go through a hole that wasn't really there, and the referee just waves him to his feet. No free kick, and Curaçao pick up once more. Again, just taking a chance inside, deep inside their own territory. Shankland challenging Juninho Bacuna, who gestures to the referee saying he was fouled. The referee's not happy with that dissent, and he gives a good talking to Bacuna, but there'll be no yellow card, and it will ultimately be a throw in to Curaçao. Still well inside their own half.
Yeah, Curaçao look as though they've got something about them though. I think individually pretty good on the ball, good touch. I think they link extremely well. They've got a bit of physicality as well. They don't mind mixing it a little bit, and they put Scotland under pressure very, very quickly. They work hard in closing Scotland down. Scotland are really struggling. They're really struggling to cope with it.
John Souttar gets the free kick there. That was a a little bit of a fortunate one, I think, against Scotland. Didn't look altogether comfortable. It started with a relatively awkward back pass from Robertson to Gordon, which he didn't deal with perfectly. Got it to Suter, and then Suter manages to get himself the free kick when he was put under pressure. So Scotland build again from the back, 22 in, almost at the midway point in this first period, and Scotland trailed by a 1-0, scored by Chong of Sheffield United. Here's Gannon Doak on the right hand side. He looks Scotland's best outlet in these early stages. Back to Hickey it goes. He'll try and clip it in left footed, almost reaches Hurst, might come for Christie inside the penalty area, hacked away by the Curaçao defence. Suter trying to keep the pressure on there. McLean nods it back to McKenna on the halfway line, and it's Hickey who put in that terrific cross that would almost reach George Hurst, but it was well defended in the end. Now it's out to Andy Robertson, left hand side, back to McLean, who gets the head up, clips it in. There's Hurst with the header, saved by the goalkeeper Eloy Room. First effort on target from Scotland, pushed away by the keeper, picked up by Gilmour here, 25 yards out, looks to link with Hurst. Little 1-2, might come for Hurst once more, comes to Christie instead, but there's a free kick being given to Curaçao inside their own penalty area for a late challenge, and Scotland denied the equaliser. George Hurst with the header from about 10 yards out, on target, but no real trouble for the goalkeeper.
No, but he's had to make the save. You know, it's a decent header. He's tried to head it down into the corner, but Room is pretty sharp and down to his left hand side. Kenny McLean, you know, just picking Hurst out, and he manages to get a yard. You know, I think that's a really good save actually when I'm watching it back now, because there's a lot of power in it. You expect him to make that save, absolutely, but at the same time it was really threatening, and Hurst would be unlucky not to see that nestling in the back of the net, but signs are pretty good that you know, Scotland are beginning to take a little bit more control of this game.
Well, we've got a water break here. It's relatively high temperatures, certainly by Scotland standards, so both players getting a little rest here, and that gives us an opportunity to bring in Rory Loy, who's watching along with us at Hampden. What have you made of the opening quarter of the game, Rory?
Well, the opening quarter's been disappointing. We're 1-0 down. In possession, you know, we've moved the ball quickly at times. There's a slight concern for me if Shankland's going to play up in a 2, that, you know, he occupies that role that he did, you know, a couple of seasons ago, where he's not really impacting in front of goal. I want to see him in the box between the sticks. Yes, he can get involved in build-up play, but Hurst's got to do a little bit of that as well to allow Shankland to get in the box. A slight concern for me, and I spoke about it before the game, is could McLean and Gilmour play in a 2? It's fine in possession, it's absolutely fine, but see, out of possession, and the goal actually comes from it. If the ball goes into McKenna, and Lucadia's a big lad, he's actually on Lucadia, and Chong runs off the back of the midfield, and his first touch is superb. It wipes McKenna out the game, and he goes on to score. So I just think going back the way towards goal, McLean and Gilmour need to be more aware, because Chong and Bacuna are causing all sorts of problems with the positions they're taking up. They're cheating slightly when Scotland are in possession. They're picking up between the lines, and Lucadia's been that focal point, that front man who's taking the ball in and allowing them to do it. Having said that, you know, brighter moments since the goal. We've had a couple of opportunities ourselves, so hopefully our goal's on its way.
Thanks, Rory. 25 minutes in, and well, we are going to see these water breaks happen at the World Cup without a doubt. The temperatures in the States and indeed Mexico, and to a lesser extent probably Canada, will be significantly higher than here. Some of the games being played at the height of the afternoon as well. It is going to be challenging for the players, and these water breaks will be absolutely necessary on those occasions. We're going to restart here then with the ball in the possession of the Curaçao goalkeeper Eloy Room, who's just made that good save to deny George Hurst. Scotland's best effort thus far. It's a pretty quiet Hampden just at the moment. It was pretty raucous pre-match, but now the Scotland fans getting used to that friendly feeling, the losing feeling in these warm-up matches. Can they do something about that? Back underway, and Curaçao have it closed down there by Shankland, but ball forward to Juninho Bacuna, out to the right hand side, can't link with a teammate. Bacuna didn't make really any impression up at Rangers in his 6-month spell, Willie, but clearly he's got something about him. We've seen him already heavily involved this afternoon.
Yeah, he's certainly one that you have to keep an eye on. He's pretty direct, seems to have a good touch as well. Good pace, also, you know, and the goal He plays a big part in the goal as well. But the Chong strike is a fabulous strike, well worked, from the supporting midfield player. And as Rory says, although I think it's Aaron Hickey that looks as though he's got an injury, that's all we need. He's holding his shoulder, so he'll get a little bit of treatment. I don't think there's any point in taking any chances, really, is there? If he is struggling, looks as though he's going to participate and stay on the field. Yes, indeed he is. But yeah, I mean, the big striker, Locadia up front, who's a real handful. He's a big unit there, and he's then got from Janino Bakuda. He's got good support from him and Chong as well. So it's difficult for the two centre backs, and as Rory said, if the midfield players are not picking up, then at times it can be really difficult for the two centre backs to take care of supporting midfield players.
The thoughts there of Willie Miller. That's why he's at a World Cup with Scotland, as Chong picks up for Curaçao. Hickey just feeling his shoulder there after that kind of meandering run forward that ended with him just running the ball straight back into Curaçao possession. That's going to be almost intercepted by Lawrence Shankland, but Obispo does well and then sends the ball out to the right hand side. It's a really terrific crossfield ball, and it's back in towards the edge of the penalty area. Bacuna tries to chest it down for Locadia. It comes back to Comanencia. Curaçao dictating play, and you can hear the groans of the fans round about us as Gilmour gets his head to the ball inside his own area, and then Hickey trying to battle there with Locadia, comes out second best, comes back the way to the edge of the box for Curaçao as they try to manufacture a second goal here, leading by a goal to nil as it stands. Locadia here for Comanencia. Scotland can't get a hold of the ball, and this will be a concern for the fans, for the manager, for the players, as Curaçao have really come into the game after Scotland started brightly. But it's Curaçao who leads thanks to Tahith Chong's strike on 17 minutes, and we're now at 29, and still that's the way things stand, as Curaçao have gone back the way but have retained possession. Midway inside their own half here, it's Julian Gary, and back to the goalkeeper, left-footed. He plays it up to the halfway line. He's captain this afternoon is Rome. Here's Benin Gannon-Doak, picked up, little step over, right hand side, tries to feed it into the box, took a little deflection and into the arms of the keeper as he tried to find Christie at the back post, I think, but it ricocheted kindly into the keeper's arms. Half an hour in almost, and it's Scotland 0, Curaçao 1.
Yeah, he's still looking lively, isn't he, down the right hand side, Gannon-Doak. He was a little bit unfortunate there. He's trying to find Christie at the back post. He's trying to make it a cross rather than a shot, but it does take the deflection into the calm arms of Room.
And here come Curaçao once more, breaking forward, and it's out to the left-hand side for Janino Bacuna, up against Hickey once more. Little 1-2 in the edge of the box. Bacuna with a bit of trickery, trying to get away from Hickey once more. Hickey stands his ground, and Bacuna goes down. The referee says nothing in it, and Scotland play on and come out from the back, almost giving it away. But now they've worked it out to Gannon-Doak, who certainly looks Scotland's most dangerous player in these opening exchanges. Hickey gets it back to Gannon-Doak. Hickey looks, I would definitely say, rusty, Willie, in his opening stages.
Yeah, he does, and he's holding that shoulder as well, obviously in his mind after him taking a knock early. But I think he's been tested. I think that's his problem, and maybe he's not used to being tested the way that Janino Bacuna is testing him at this moment in time, and he's not getting an easy time on the ball, and certainly when Curaçao are attacking, then he's not looking comfortable.
Yeah, just tried to feed it into the channel there for Lawrence Shankland to go and chase, but there was no chance he was ever going to get on the end of it. And so beyond the half hour now, and Scotland still a goal down to Curaçao as the visitors play out from the back once more, growing in confidence with that 1-goal lead. As it's played forward to the goal scorer Chong, just a little shove in the back there by McKenna, gives Curaçao the free kick midway inside their own half. 3 defeats in the last 4 for Scotland: Greece, Japan and Ivory Coast. That one, the most recent one, down at Everton's new fabulous Hill Dickinson Stadium. But Scotland have got the wins when they matter in qualification, but the last thing you want to do is really get into a rut once more of defeat after defeat. And it's 1-0 they trail here this afternoon at Hampden Park. They're in possession midway inside their own half. It's McKenna for Suter, and out to the right hand side for Hickey of Brentford. Given away by Gannon-Doak, battles to try and win it back, and he's done so. Shankland in there as well, squeezes it back to his new Rangers teammate John Suter. Suter tries to get it back to him but can't do so, and Obispo picks up for Comarencia. He's given it away to Ryan Christie in the midfield. Now Billy Gilmore will take over. The diminutive little midfielder there battling away up against Juninho Bacuna. Play continues despite Gilmore going down because Scotland are still in possession. Hickey has it just inside his own half. Gilmore's stayed down but will slowly get to his hands and knees and then back to his feet as John Suter plays it short to McKenna. We've got about 12 and a half minutes left in this opening half at Hampden. Scotland are behind as McKenna plays it out to Robertson, and then Christie. Left hand side is McKenna, back to Christie once more, midway inside the Curaçao half, clips it into the box. Good boot in there ahead of Shankland to knock it clear. It'll come for Gilmore, back in towards Shankland again. It's a good challenge in the heart of defence by Bowser, and then the goalkeeper clears up towards the halfway line. Just a little nudge there that time from Suter on Locadia, enough to put him off, and allows Craig Gordon just to nudge the ball back to John Suter. Gordon's had nothing to do apart from pick the ball out the back of the net on that one occasion as Chong fired it past him. Here's Christie picking up towards the edge of the penalty area. Into the box he comes now, tries to flash it across goal, but he used an arm as it ricocheted back against him, and the referee spotted that one and awards the free kick to Curaçao. 33 and a half on the clock. Scotland 0, Curaçao 1.
I think it's a bit of a struggle for Scotland. I'm not too sure about Lawrence Shankland in that position. I mean, he does play it, but you would have thought that he would take part in the game more. He's had very few touches, and I feel as though he's working hard enough, but I don't know if it's the understanding through the midfield and the fullbacks that they need to start to try to get him into the game, because the few touches he's had, there's only one that I can remember that opened him up, and again he's looking for it, but I think he's got to demand it even more than what he seems to be, because there's no one really picking him up. He's got plenty of room. If only his teammates could find him.
Scotland have it, and it's John Suter arrowing it out to the right hand side, looking for Gannon-Doak. Just too much on it, out for a throw in to Curaçao. Good idea from Suter, just a little bit too much in the execution, and Curaçao will get the throw in. Dick Advocat still out, marshalling his players at the edge of the penalty area, at the edge of the technical area I should say. He's not encroaching on the field of play, thankfully. Steve Clark also out, but he's more placid down there. Don't imagine he's delighted by what he's seeing, albeit we know that this is not necessarily his first and full strength team, but he would expect his side to be putting on a better show for the home fans. Their send-off ahead of the World Cup in the next few weeks, as it's played out to the right hand side. Curaçao into the box, McKenna heads clear, then McLean picks up, feeds it forward, can't find Gannon-Doak, mopped up there by Obispo, and it'll come for the goal scorer Chong. Hickey looked like he got the better of him initially. Chong felt he was being fouled. I thought it was a bit of 50-50 there, and then Hickey's caught late, and that's a little bit of a nasty one. It is going to be a yellow card for Locadia, just caught late as he tried to clear the ball, and a bit of a nasty one he's taken in the face there, and the referee from Georgia shows the yellow card for the first time this afternoon. We've played 35 and a half minutes, Scotland 0, Curaçao 1.
He's a big unit, Locadia, isn't he? He likes to put himself about, he likes the physical contact. He was late getting into that challenge, no doubt about that. I don't think it was too too serious, but at the same time, Chong wasn't happy with the decision, against Hickey, which I don't think. I think it was both of them were at it. Both of them were holding the jersey, so I think the referee was quite legitimate to actually just play on.
Well, there's a VAR check here. Now, is it for a bit of holding there? No, it's
a penalty. Is it? When he comes in,
or possibly for this challenge by Locadia. Let's have a look.
I don't know.
I don't think there's enough in that for. The referee's certainly coming across to the monitor. It's for serious foul play, so it must be for Locadia's challenge. I'd be surprised if this is given as a red card. Well, look at that in slow motion though, Willie. What are you seeing there?
Oh, he comes in, he's late. Yeah, I mean, I think he does, you know, stand in the foot of Hickey does a striker, but he's that type. Yeah, but you know, I think it is. I think it's one of these situations that he doesn't have to go into. Lucada, he doesn't have to go into the challenge.
Let's see what the decision is. There's the arm into the face of Hickey that I think he's been looking at. He goes to his pocket. The yellow card is rescinded, and Lucadia, in a friendly match, is red carded for his challenge on Aaron Hickey. He does catch him in the face. We know that intent doesn't come into it, and that is deemed to be serious foul play from Jurgen Lucadia, and the red card is issued to the Curaçao striker, just catching Aaron Hickey as he attempted to clear. It looked to me a naughty one initially. I didn't, at first glance, feel that the red card was merited. Willie, what's your take overall?
Even seeing it again, I'm not 100% sure that it was a yellow card. Listen, he does catch Hickey. He's that type of player. He's been putting himself about. He's a physical specimen up there, and he's came in late. Hickey's played it away. I thought initially that it was maybe the stud into Hickey's foot, but as his bodies went through, he hasn't elbowed him, but his upper arm has caught Hickey in the face as well. There's no doubt it was dangerous play.
Well, the referee decides it was sufficient to merit the yellow card being upgraded to a red. It's pretty rare you see
in a
warm-up match red card being issued, but Curaçao down to 10.
The problem is that the result doesn't matter. It would be much better if they still had 11 players on, and it was a test for Scotland, and they haven't really stood up to it particularly well so far. But now, you know, Curaçao down to 10 men, it's then going to be difficult for you to judge from now on in.
Andy Robertson swings it into the box over Christie, though he can't reach it. Some claims for a penalty, but there's definitely nothing in that, as Aaron Hickey picks up right hand side into Gilmour, midway inside the Curaçao half. Scotland looking for a leveller now against the 10 men, as Gannon Dokes swings it in, but headed away by Obispo and picked up by Juninho Bacuna. And is that Billy Gilmour that's hit the deck with no one around him, and that will be a concern for all related to Scotland if he's picked up a knock. And the referee just attending to him just now, and he's going to bring on the Scotland medics. Just in this break of play, I think it's worth getting another view on the red cards from Rory Loy, who's watching on with us.
Yeah, I completely agree with you guys. I thought it was reckless, which would meet the criteria for a yellow card. You know, he stamps on his foot. He does slightly catch him, his upper body, but I thought it was a yellow card. I really did. But I think Willie hits the nail on the head. I think if you had our task, Steve Clarke, would you rather he stayed on the pitch? I think he would. I think now if Scotland go on and win this game, you know, it's going to point to the fact that they were down to 10 men. So I think, you know, the point Willie makes there is absolutely correct.
Yeah, Gilmour, I just saw a replay of Gilmour playing a pass out to the right hand side, and immediately on playing that he just pulls up, and it looks like he's getting treatment to around the knee area on his right leg, maybe just above the knee. Finlay Curtis is getting stripped to come on, which will not be a like for like. You imagine Ryan Christie would then move into a more central area and Curtis would play on the flank. But I mean, this is a major worry for Billy Gilmour and Scotland, Willie.
Well, it is, yeah. You know, it's the last thing you want. The last thing you need is to get injured in a warm-up game, you know, in the build-up to the World Cup. All you can hope for is that it's not too serious. It seems to be round about the knee, which indicates to me that there's a question mark over it. It might be serious, might not be serious. We'll just have to wait and see. Get him off, get the ice on it right away, make sure that he's getting, you know, intense treatment on it and well looked after, which I'm sure he will be. But he's moving reasonably well. I think, you know, it's perhaps a precaution more than anything else. But you don't want to take any chances, you know, particularly with someone that you might play a big part in the World Cup.
Yeah, he's applauding the fans as he comes off, and he walks off, Billy Gilmour, so he gets a word in the ear from Steve Clarke as well. Let's hope that is just precautionary, and Billy Gilmour recovers in good time to continue on the trip to the USA. So Finlay Curtis of Rangers on loan at Kilmarnock in the second half of the season, and did really well in that loan period, sufficiently well to catch Steve Clarke's eye, and he comes on for a second Scotland cap, having made his debut here against Japan back in March. But Scotland need to lift things. It's 42 minutes in now. There'll be a little bit of stoppage time to play after the VAR check that led to the red cards for Locadia just a few minutes ago, and then for that injury to Billy Gilmour. Here's Gannon Doak on the right hand side with Curtis on the left. It's a scenario that I think a lot of Scotland fans will be quite excited about, seeing that Gannon Doak and Curtis in the same 11, one on either flank. Again, the Scotland attack though breaks down, the link up not good enough, and with 2.5 minutes left of the opening 45, it's still Scotland 0, Curaçao 1. And it's not been the type of display that the Scotland fans were hoping to see when they turned up at Hampden this afternoon.
No, it's been disappointing. You know, the link-up play hasn't been there. We know that Lorne Shankland's a very good player, but it really hasn't taken part so far in the game. But you know, he's the type of player that maybe doesn't need to take part when he gets the opportunity, invariably sticks it in the back of the net. But you would just like to see him getting more involved, you know, being able to link up with the midfield, being able to link up with the full-backs, but that hasn't really happened. And it's not as if he's playing right up top, you know, with Hurst as a 2 either. He tends to drop off, looking for the ball, but not getting much service.
Curaçao are defending well when they're being asked to. That's another good header clear after Gannon Doak tried to just flick the ball into the penalty area first time, but Curaçao standing up to the task and leading by 1-0 in the closing stages of this first period, as Juninho Bacuna sends it back to his goalkeeper. He'll send it back up towards the halfway line, won by Suter above Chong, but free kick given for the challenge. Didn't seem to be all that much wrong with it, but the referee disagrees.
I think sometimes you're better not challenging, you know, in that situation there, because the referee's going to give a free kick. It's just the reality of international football. I think at times you're better just standing off, because you know Chong's he's only going to head it, he's going to flick it on. There's no one up there with him, and Scott McKenna is well behind, so it's easily covered if he just leaves it,
as McKenna did there, and it bounces behind for a goal kick to Scotland. This Curaçao side qualifies for their first ever World Cup by topping a group with Trinidad, Bermuda and Jamaica in it, having come through a previous group that included Haiti, where they beat 5-1 in Aruba. Neutral territory, was Haiti aren't allowed to play home games in their homeland. Here's Kenny McLean, about 35 yards from goal, slips it through. Opportunity here on the turn, equaliser, and it's Finlay Curtis who's grabbed it. He's only on the park a couple of minutes, and he's got his first international goal as he wheels away to that far side to take the acclaim of the Scotland fans. What a moment for the young man, what a season it has been, making his breakthrough at Rangers, then to Kilmarnock on loan, and now the national side. He spun after an excellent pass through to him, and he spun, hit it first time beyond the goalkeeper, in at the far post. It is Scotland 1, Curaçao 1.
Oh, he's taking it so well, isn't he, Finlay Curtis? I mean, that's not an easy strike as the ball's played through. He makes a lovely run in behind, and he just burrows with the left foot, and it's an instinctive strike, I would suggest. You know, when that pass is played through to him, the touch is fabulous, and he gets his head up a little bit. He knows exactly where he wants to play it, gets the head over the ball, maybe a little bit of good fortune through the defender's legs, because he hasn't just caught it crisply enough. But I'll tell you what, he knows exactly what he wants to do. He wants to hit that far corner, and that's where it ends up. So fabulous for the youngster.
Yeah, great stuff for Finlay Curtis, who doesn't turn 20 till the start of next month, and he is drawn Scotland level. We're just entering 6 minutes of added on time here at the National Stadium. Scotland 1, Curaçao 1. Kenny McLean's ball through to him, you have to say as well, Willie Miller was quite fabulous.
Yeah, he's capable of that, Kenny. You know, he's got real good vision, good weight of the pass as well, perfect weight of the pass, and But a real good run from Finlay Curtis as well. The first touch and then the strike. Maybe not just catching it 100%, but that helps to see it end up in the back of the net. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to hit that far corner, and that's exactly what he managed to do.
And here he comes again, left-hand side, plays it into the feet of Christie and then gets it back. Brimming with confidence, plays it to Hickey, out to the right-hand side to Gannon Doak. Little trick, gets to the byline, blocked by Fonville, but behind for a corner to Scotland on this right-hand side. Looking to finish the first half strongly. Now playing against 10 men after the red card shown to Jurgen Locadia for his challenge on Aaron Hickey. But Scotland can only play what's in front of them. If it's against 10 men, it might happen at the World Cup, you never know. It's a different challenge to facing 11 as Christie sends in the corner kick towards the back post. Ricochets around as Suter went up for it but couldn't reach it. Scotland will try and recycle. It's out to Kenny McLean. He'll clip it in towards the back post. Well defended once more. It was Bazur who got his head to it right in the heart of that Curaçao defence. He's been terrific. Plays for Konyaspor in Turkey, and he's been really good defending everything that's coming to the box. Here comes Scotland once more in the 3rd minute of added on time. It's Gannon Doak on the right once more, trying to get the better of Fonville. Cuts it back this time, almost falls for Hickey. Lashed away by Leandro Bacuna. Scotland pick up again, looking for a second goal before the interval to put them in front, which would change the mood. Here's Finlay Curtis, who's definitely done that with his equaliser. Robertson gets it back to Curtis. Robertson once more, feeds it into the penalty area, knocked away by Gary up towards the halfway line. It'll be retrieved here by McKenna, kept in play over on the left hand side, leaves it to his captain Andy Robertson and into McLean. Kenny McLean advancing midway inside the Curaçao half. Nice ball for Shanklin. Shanklin's ball isn't as good though, he gives it away, and Curaçao emerged with possession through Obispo, and then Gary clips it up towards the halfway. Hickey rises, just gets something on it, knocks it out for a throw-in. Felt he was impeded there by Juninho Bacuna, who's given him a bit of a hard time, it has to be said, in this first half, but it will be a Curaçao throw-in. Curaçao will maybe feel a little bit hard done by, given that red card that was shown after the VAR review by the Georgian officials, and having led, they've now been pegged back to one apiece as Scotland pick up once more. A couple of minutes left of added on time. It's McKenna onto the halfway line to Suter, and out to the right hand side for Hickey. I think there'll be a number of changes for Scotland at the interval and throughout the second half, as Gannon Doak plays it back to Suter. Suter forward to Christie. Christie, who's playing, as I say, more centrally now with Curtis on for Gilmore. Curtis picks up once more, clips it in towards Hurst, just too much on it, carries all the way through to the goalkeeper, and it remains with about 90 seconds left in this first period of added on time. Scotland 1, Curaçao 1.
Yeah, it's not so much of a contest now, is it? Really, I think Scotland dominating the ball. They weren't doing that when it was 11v11, but certainly, since Curaçao's went down to the 10 men, then it's been a real struggle for them. They looked really threatening when they had 11 on the pitch, and Scotland really struggled to make any kind of headway against them. Thought they defended well. They broke very quickly. They had, Locadia was a real handful through the middle, and they had 2 supporting players as well. Janino Buchanan and Chong through the middle too. So whenever the ball was played up, then these 2 were supporting, and Scotland were really struggling at that point. They're now, it's quite easy for them to keep possession. You would think that it would just be a matter of time before they got the second goal, but in saying that, Curaçao are certainly defending extremely well.
Here's Christie, last chance perhaps. Robertson lashes it goalward, but over the top from the Scotland skipper from just inside the penalty area. I think that'll be more or less that for the first half. Decent half chance there for Robertson, but a little bit like his earlier effort at goal, plenty behind it, but just lacking the accuracy required to test the goalkeeper. And it will be a goal kick to the visitors, and when this is launched forward, you expect to hear the half-time whistle of Goga Kichakishvili. the Georgian referee. Not just yet, perhaps, as Juninho Bacuna picks up, finds his brother, the captain, Leandro, back the way to Fonville. We've gone beyond the 6 minutes. He goes back to the goalkeeper. This time he clears first time up to the halfway line. It's given away. Christie, is there a last chance in the half then for Scotland? Shanklin feeds. Curtis tries to cut it back this time. He was unselfish and perhaps should have just gone for goal again himself on the right foot. Instead he put it onto the left and cut it across goal, and it comes to nothing, and it remains Scotland 1, Curaçao 1.
Yeah, just feel he's got to drill it across the face as the half-time whistle goes.
Yeah, an opportunity there for Scotland at the end of a half which has been a little bit topsy-turvy. Scotland started well, but found themselves a goal down as Curaçao playing well in the counter-attack. The ball was played forward to Chong, who got the better of the Scotland central defenders before striking it past Craig Gordon, who otherwise has been a virtual spectator in this first period. But Curaçao then enjoyed a really good period in the game. George Hurst had a header midway through the half that was well saved by Eloy Room in the Curaçao goal to deny Scotland the equaliser. But then perhaps the pivotal point in that first period, the red card ultimately shown to Jurgen Locadia, the Curaçao striker. He challenged Aaron Hickey just inside the Scotland box as Hickey went to clear. Definitely caught him. A yellow card was initially shown to Locadia, but VAR drew the referee's attention to the challenge, asked him to come over and review it, and once he did, he issued the red card to the Curaçao striker. Scotland then playing against 10 for the final stages of that first period, and just in the stroke of the 45, Finlay Curtis, who'd come on for Billy Gilmour, who went off with a little injury, got on the end of a Kenny McLean pass, and first time span and sent it past the goalkeeper to make it 1-1. And Willie Miller, do you think that's an accurate reflection overall of how the first half has gone?
Well, I think young Finlay Curtis did also well in terms of taking that touch and striking it towards the far post and getting that equaliser. A little bit of good fortune in it, but take nothing away from him because it was a really good move, and Kenny McLean playing a big part on it. I don't think he caught it just the way he wanted to catch it, but it did help, and it kind of maybe bobbled. Maybe that's a wee bit disrespectful for him, but it was a really good finish, because that touch that he took in the strike, it catches defenders out of position. It unseats the goalkeeper as well, and although he's stretching for it, he's not getting it. So that's turned it round. But the first half I don't think was a particularly good performance from Scotland. I think they struggled throughout. Curaçao didn't create too many opportunities, but they're always a threat on the counter. And I think when it was 11v11, I think the visitors had the edge on it, but at half time and down to 10 men, you'd expect Scotland to go on in the second half and win this game.
Yeah, there'll be a number of changes both at half-time and throughout the second half. You imagine it'll be a different contest altogether, but Curaçao showing that they are in good nick for the World Cup, giving Scotland a real good test in this first period. At half-time, it's Scotland 1, Curaçao 1.
The road to the 2026 World Cup. Scotland versus Curaçao. Live on Sports Sound. On BBC Radio Scotland. The World Cup lives here.
You're listening to Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland with me, Kenny McIntyre. A send-off game to the World Cup finals. Half-time, Scotland 1, Curaçao 1. Alongside us here on the gantry, Rory Loy and Tom English. Rory, we'll get to the key points and your thoughts on them just shortly, but first of all, an overall thought on the Scotland first half performance.
I thought for large spades of the opening half an hour, 35 minutes, despite a few half chances, Curaçao looked like they were warming up for a World Cup, and Scotland looked like they were playing in a friendly. Now, things did change as the dynamic of the game progressed. Shanklin's playing very much on the left-hand side of the field up the top end of the pitch. He's coming short. Hurst playing on the right-hand side. He's very predictable. It goes into the midfield. They're looking up, and there's not a lot of options there. They've moved the ball well at times and moved the ball quickly at times, and when they have, they've opened Curaçao up. However, I don't think the two in the midfield has worked. I think we need another body in there just to bolster things, or we did before the red card, sorry. That'll probably change things now. So I think it was slightly disappointing, to be totally honest with you, Kenny. I thought Curaçao looked I'm not saying they peppered the goal, but they've looked like they've got the bit between their teeth. They look like they're playing to be in that first game come the group stages, and when they've broke with purpose, and we've looked a little bit laboured at times, which is maybe unfair given that we've got a lack of the full squad available, and also the fact that players are coming off long seasons. But I don't really want to use that as an excuse, because it's the World Cup round the corner. So I think it's ended the game as a real spectacle, a real contest, a real gauge of preparation now, with Lucadio being sent off. That has completely scuppered their plan, because he's pivotal to it.
Your thoughts, Tom, on that first 45 from Steve Clarke's side?
Very disappointing. I was hoping for more, but it looks a bit disjointed to me. Shankland is running about, but he's not in his natural position. I think he's a bit of a fish out of water in that position. Hurst is an out-and-out number 9. I don't think he could even attempt to play that other role that Shankland is playing. So Hurst has got it. And Hurst is putting himself about. A lot of physicality there, a lot of running there. He's had a couple of attempts on goal, so fine. But Shankland is not really involved in that. Apart from a couple of link-ups he had with Gannon Doak early on, he hasn't had a whole lot to do. Gannon Doak is doing his best. He looks dangerous whenever he gets the ball. His delivery obviously is a little bit suspect at times, but they're trying to get him into the game as much as possible. But it's very flat. It's very flat in the stadium. I think it's very flat in the pitch. I don't think the tempo is right. I don't think the cohesion is right. And then when they go a goal down, this is supposed to be a glorious goodbye.
Well, talk to us about that goal then. Your thought, but it just looked all too easy, didn't it?
So easy. It's a long ball from left back, long hopeful ball from left back, and Chong beats McKenna, and he's away, and he does very, very well. He turns inside Suter, and then he beats Gordon at his near post. Simple.
I do have to say, the first touch from Chong, I know
it's great work from him.
Wipes McKenna out the game with that first touch. He was actually tight on Lucadia, and Chong takes up that position. But I agree with Tom, the rest of it, but the first touch needs mention, because it was great.
He does brilliantly. Chong does absolutely brilliantly. But you got to look at the way Scotland defended it, and I thought it was really poor. And I thought they were good value for that 1-0. I mean, they're physical. They're not the easiest team on the eye. They're very, very powerful men, very physical. And Scotland struggled, and until the red card, and I did think it was a red card.
You think it was a red card, Tom?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think it was an elbow to the head. Soft, says Al.
What was it actually given for? Was it given for the elbow?
It must be the elbow.
It must be. I mean, there was a foot on foot, right? But Willie Collum has been telling us all season, boot on boot is not a red card. Okay, so there looked like a boot on boot. I think he must have given it for the elbow, and I think he caught him with the elbow, and he got what he deserved.
What about the goal then? The equalising goal. Young Finlay Curtis just on the park.
Brilliant.
Sweet finish.
Fantastic, yeah. Like he's what a end of season he's having.
Yeah.
I mean, he's turned into a goal machine for Killie. He's now on the pitch a few minutes and he scores, gets Scotland out of a tight spot. And it was nice. Yeah, I mean, Willie's right. He doesn't catch it sweet, but the intent.
If he catches it sweet, it probably doesn't go in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but the intent is there. I think the first touch, right foot, then left foot finish. Really confident. Mm-hmm. A lovely goal. I mean, a really lovely goal from a player bang in form, and he could have a part to play in this World Cup. I mean, a few weeks ago you'd have said, yeah, look, he might make the squad, but he'll be there as a kind of a squad player. Maybe not.
Well, I was chatting with Neil McCann downstairs. He's working with our television colleagues today. Of course, he had him. Neil was at Rangers, obviously, and then has taken him down to Kilmarnock. He's been fantastic in the latter part of the season. He was talking about a good player he is, and also just how he will fit in perfectly, Rory, with this squad that Steve Clarke has put together. We know this talk about the club feel about it. He said he's just a guy that wants to learn. He treats people with respect, and he says there is so much ability there to come out still.
Yeah, and we can see it, right foot, left foot. The first touch is magnificent, but the bit that impressed me as well is he's been able to, in 5 minutes, do what a lot of the Scotland players haven't really been able to do, is recognise where the space is. Now, he's actually involved in the build-up, and he's too close to Kenny McLean. He recognises that. He takes 3 steps backwards. The Curaçao players are all watching the ball, and that opens up the space for him to take his first touch and put it in the corner. So every portion of that goal, whilst, as the guys have said, and quite rightly so, it's not the cleanest strike in the world, nous to know where to move, when to move, to find the space. The first touch is magnificent, and you deserve a little bit of luck if your build-up play is going to be that good. So look, that'll be huge for Finlay Curtis, and it's days like today that, you know, we are in a sticky spot against Haiti, we're in a sticky spot against Morocco. Steve Clarke turns around now, he's thinking,
he's the go-to.
Do I go with Finlay Curtis? Do I go with him? When really maybe he's been put on today just to see, give him a feel for it, see what he can do. I know he's had one cap already, we'll put him on, give him a little bit longer and give him a feel for it. A feel for it might turn into, we need you.
Just in a couple of minutes, Tom, just before we hand back to Al for second half commentary, worrying signs of course when Billy Gilmour went off injured, and a player that looks as if he's just not had the amount of football he would have wanted to have had this season. Aaron Hickey struggled for big parts of this game, hasn't he?
Yeah, both of them have struggled a bit. Both of them are very, very good players, particularly Hickey. And I think Hickey's situation is more concerning because Gilmour is a good player, but he's wasteful at times. I know he's got a reputation for being a brilliant passer, and he can be. He gives the ball away. Maybe he's trying to play the really offensive pass. But the Scotland have plenty in the middle of the park. But Scotland do not have plenty at right back. So Hickey, there's an awful lot of onus on Hickey. He's a guaranteed starter. He needs to be fit, he needs to be firing. If he's not, Scotland have a problem there. Because there's no natural replacement.
Just run out, Tom, so I don't think we'll see Hickey the second half. And
that worries me. Because he's got so little football in him anyway.
Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it?
And he's just, he keeps having these issues. That is, I'm mark me down as concerned now in terms of the Aaron Hickey situation.
Yeah, we'll hear from Steve Clarke after the game. The plan here is when the final whistle goes, the players will do a lap off the pitch here to say goodbye and thank the fans, of course, for their fantastic support throughout this campaign that sees us off to our first World Cup finals in 28 years. So after that, Steve Clarke, the plan is for him to address the fans here inside the National Stadium. Of course, we're back on again next Saturday evening. That's a final game. It's out in the States against Bolivia before, of course, we kick off our World Cup finals campaign against Haiti. Interesting to hear what Steve Clarke says here today, Tom, just about his views on this performance. And we spoke before about the slight concern ahead of the Euros. There was just a dip in form, wasn't there, before we headed off to Germany?
Big dip in form before the Euros.
Yeah.
Lost to Japan, lost to Ivory Coast, didn't score a goal in either of those games. Scored today, but while Curaçao are down to 10 men. So it's not convincing at all. There's an element of history repeating itself here. They got a second half against 10 men, right? Scotland should win this game. They should win it pretty comfortably. They should. They need to, because this stadium is very, very, very flat. This lap of honour there's not going to be many people here. Steve Clarke could be addressing 50 people if this finishes 1-1. So they need a big rousing performance, not just for the crowd, but for their own sake. This is a team that, they're huffing and puffing a bit. They don't look particularly cohesive right now. I know they're missing a lot of stellar names, but they had those guys against Japan and against Ivory Coast as well. Couldn't score a goal. Need a big rousing second half performance to remind everybody this is a decent team.
Yeah, almost a full house in here this afternoon, and they are expecting the perfect send-off with a Scotland victory. Certainly the odds are very much in Scotland's favour now. It's one apiece, and of course they are up against 10 men here at the National Stadium. So full second half commentary to come here from Hampden Park. Scotland against Curaçao. It's finally poised, one apiece. A really nice goal from Finlay Curtis right in the stroke of half time to pull Scotland back level. Surely now they will go on to win this game. Let's hope it would be the perfect send-off for the national side. So full second half commentary to come. Scotland against Curaçao with Willie Miller and your match commentator Alistair Lamont.
Welcome back to Hampden Park as Scotland prepare to make a few substitutions at the interval here against Curaçao, and it's going to include a debut for a young man who was only drafted into the squad to make up the numbers in training and give a little feel for the international camp. But it is Tyler Fletcher, the son of the Scotland legendary midfielder Darren Fletcher, who is going to come on among others. I think there's going to be 5 Scotland changes here. I can see Tyler Fletcher, Grant Hanley, Lyndon Dykes, Dominic Hyam and Nathan Patterson all lined up on the halfway line, as Curaçao also look like they're planning a couple of changes. I'm going to have to be on my toes here as they flash up all these various numbers of players who are being replaced. Looks like it's going to be the man who spent a short time on loan at Hearts, Gervain Castanier, who's going to come on for Curaçao. So Hyam comes on for McKenna. Next change is Fletcher, who comes on for Gannon Doak. Hanley coming on for Suter, and Patterson on for Hickey, which is no great surprise. And Lyndon Dykes has replaced George Hurst, as on comes Gervain Castanier as a save for Curaçao. As they, remember, they're down to 10 men, so second half about to get us underway. Castanier will be the focal point in their attack now. And let's see what the changes provide for Scotland, but a huge moment for Tyler Fletcher. A couple of Manchester United appearances for the 19-year-old, and all of a sudden here he is making his Scotland debut from the start of this second half, and we're back underway as Scotland look to try and build on that equaliser they got at the tail end of the first period. But it's Curaçao who begin in possession, but a big moment for Tyler Fletcher, Willie Miller.
Yeah, and a surprising one as well. But yeah, you've just got to take your chance when you get that opportunity. God, I could go back to, what was it, 75 or 75 it was, I think, when I get the opportunity to make my first appearance in Romania. I was playing the under-23s, didn't think I had any chance whatsoever, and you've just got to try and make the most of it, get out there, just play your normal game, and you know, hope that the manager tucks your performance away. Don't let him down, that's for sure.
Curaçao have a free kick. It was actually given away by Fletcher. That's Castanier going to try and make his physical presence known up against Grant Hanley there. I'll run you through the amended teams in a moment, but here comes Chong, who got the opening goal for Curaçao, and then at the edge of the box is Comanencia looking to make some headway, but Fletcher's in the way and he picks up on the 1-2 there from Curtis, and then Shankland works it back to McLean, out to Curtis left hand side, equaliser scorer, young man who will be looking to try and make even more of an impact at Rangers this season. Good hold-up play there by Shankland, steps away from Comanencia and then just plays it too far ahead of Ryan Christie, who stretched to try and keep the ball but couldn't do so, and then Chong gets it back for Curaçao. Comanencia once more, good footwork to move away from Shankland, who's still playing that kind of slightly deeper attacking player. Lyndon Dykes, the man effectively playing where George Hurst was, the main striker, if you like, as Curaçao have it as Gary playing it forwards, picked up by Chong, and then back the way to Obispo out to the left hand side for Fonville on the halfway line. A couple of minutes gone in this second period, still one apiece as it stood at the interval, as Eli Rome, the Curaçao goalkeeper, clips it up to the halfway line. Castanier looks like he's just going to provide that same physical threat that Locadia was before his red card late in the first half. Scotland have picked up possession, and it's Robertson out to the left hand side for Curtis. Curtis on the left just plays it forward once more for Robertson, almost at the byline, has to check back the way though. Curtis once more, left hand side, rolls it back to Kenny McLean. McLean back for Robertson, about 15 yards from the byline, tries to curl it in near post, and it comes to the keeper off Chong, as Lyndon Dykes tried to just get a little touch at the near post, but the keeper was first to it. 48 on the clock, and it's Scotland 1, Curaçao 1.
Yeah, and I think you've got to look at the second half as a test against 10 men, and see if Scotland have got what it takes to break down, you know, the 10 men that undoubtedly are going to try to defend and, you know, make it difficult and close space down as well. But it's a different type of test, for what we're expecting. We were expecting 11v11 throughout this game, but now they've got the opportunity to see, the quality that the Scotland team have got when they're up against a team that's defending pretty deep.
Here's Christie inside the penalty area, right hand side, into the feet of Shanklin, back with Shanklin, shot saved, pushed away by Rome, and Curaçao survive as Lawrence Shanklin gets his first sight of goal. It wasn't the easiest of opportunities. There's a yellow card being shown to Kenny McLean there, I think, for stopping what looked like a promising attack as Chong picked up on the counter, and he's the first Scotland player into the boot. But the chance for Lawrence Shanklin, Willie, first sight of goal for him.
Yeah, but he's been taking part more in the second half. It's still very early in the second half, just about 4 or 5 minutes gone. But he's had more touches, I would suggest, in the 5 minutes of the second half than he had for the whole of the first half. And that strike, it was a decent strike. It was well played. Christie was involved as well, and he's pulled the trigger pretty quickly. He'll be a little bit disappointed, perhaps. He didn't manage to find the back of the net, because he is a striker with a lot of talent, but at the same time the signs are pretty good, and he's been more active certainly in the second half.
Curaçao have got themselves a free kick in a pretty decent position. Castanier, the substitute, was being pulled there, and Dom Hyam gives away the free kick in a decent position. It's midway inside the Scotland half, very central. Actually looks like Juninho Bacuna might be lining up a shot from what must be easily 35 yards, and in fact it's Leandro Bacuna who tries to go for goal, but his knuckleball attempt doesn't really work, and it's miles over the crossbar in the end. It gives me an opportunity to just run you through the Scotland 11 as it looks now. It's still Craig Gordon in goal. It's almost an entirely different back four. Nathan Patterson, Dominic Hyam, Grant Hanley, and still Andy Robertson. In the midfield, you've got Ryan Christie and Kenny McLean, with Tyler Fletcher in there as well, and Finlay Curtis on the flank. Lawrence Shanklin and Lyndon Dykes are the forward players. Fletcher just playing in the heart of the midfield as well. Christie has gone across to that right hand side. So a free kick goes Curaçao's way. Again, it's Castanier who's putting himself about a bit. Again, he's a player who didn't make a massive impact when he came to Scotland with Hearts, but already in this game he's shown that he's going to be a bit of a handful, as Lawrence Shanklin almost intercepts a back pass there, but it's eventually sent long by the keeper up towards Castanier, making life difficult for Hyam. Picked up by Juninho Bacuna. He can't keep a hold of it, and Hanley tidies up, and it's Scotland have given it away. It's a really dreadful pass out from the back there by Patterson, and it's the goal scorer Chong who's going for it again. That's blocked, and Scotland try and tidy things up, but still a little bit disjointed, I guess, when you get so many changes happening that can naturally occur. But nonetheless, Scotland need to be better in possession. They've given it away again. Remember, they're playing against 10 men after Locadia's red card late in that first period. 1-1 it stands.
Yeah, but I mean, they're not getting much time, are they? Curaçao, although they're down to 10 men, they're working extremely hard. But
here's Kenny McLean up towards the edge of the penalty. A good challenge on the edge of the box though by Obispo. Some of the Scotland fans wanted a free kick, but there was nothing wrong with the challenge. Chong's lost out though to Christie as he tried to come forward, and Scotland have it again. It's Andy Robertson up to the edge of the box, into Curtis, little back heel looking for Robertson again, might come for Christie. Challenge is made. Dykes inside the penalty area, rolls it out to Patterson right hand side. Crossing opportunity here. Christie, no one's closing him down. It's Patterson who tries to play it in, but it's a poor aim. He's got it back though, and he goes for goal, and it's over the top with the outside of the right boot. Another player who's not had a lot of football, and it kind of showed there in that passage of play. Nathan Patterson. 53 on the clock. Scotland 1, Curaçao 1.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of composure in both occasions. When he had the opportunity to flash it across the face of the goal, it was a kind of a nothing ball. He could have maybe taken it on and hit the byline and cut it back. And then when it broke to him, he's kind of stabbed at it. He's poked at it with the right foot. When again, maybe just trying to take the little touch on it might have been the better opportunity for him. Get himself steadied and having a strike on target.
Interesting, Willie, that now that they're down to 10 men for this second half at least, Curaçao have kind of basically gone to a back four, leaving the 3 men up front, if you like, and not quite throwing caution to the wind, but nor have they gone overly defensive as you often see with a team of 10 men.
Yeah, they've taken one out the back 5 really from what it was, and they've then reverted to the one striker and 2 supporting again. That's the way they played in the first half, although it was a back 5. So they've changed the formation, but I think what Dick Advocaat's trying to get is still that threat going forward. And we'll just have to see if it works, see if it pans out, that they can cause Scotland problems at the other end of the park. But you would imagine that they're going to have to defend. They're going to have to be strong defensively as Scotland, use that extra man and take advantage of it. And they look as though they're capable of doing that. But at the same time, they haven't shown it in the second. I think Lawrence Shanklin is definitely looking a lot sharper, a better understanding of the position that he's playing as well, and taking part in the game more.
Curaçao's substitution is the captain, Leandro Bacuna, with the headband, who makes way, and he's given a huge round of applause from the 800 Curaçao fans away down to our left-hand side. They are enjoying their afternoon, and he is replaced by Godfried Romerato, who plays for Valwijk in the Netherlands, and he comes into that midfield. The 34-year-old legs of Leandro Bacuna certainly put in a good shift in that 50-odd minutes he was on the park. It was Bazour, incidentally, the defender that Willie was talking about, has been taken out of that back 5 and now making it a back 4 with Castanier coming on up front. So it's effectively a 4-3-2 for the visitors here. Still 1 each. Played 10 minutes of the second period, and Scotland having finished the first half pretty well, got the equaliser, just looking to find a rhythm once more as Tyler Fletcher, 19-year-old debutant, plays out to the right hand side. Patterson back into Christie here. Christie looking to find a space, plays it out to the left hand side, forces Andy Robertson to just scurry there to keep the ball in play. He gets it to Curtis and then back with Robertson about 10 yards inside the Curaçao half. Infield to the Hibernian defender Grant Hanley, and square to Wrexham's Dom Hyam. Out to Patterson right hand side, back into Hanley. Scotland being patient, looking to find potential gaps in the Curaçao backline. Out to Curtis it comes, can he find them? Left hand side, little step over, left footed cross in towards Shanklin, who chests it down. Christie catches it well, and it's well saved by the keeper, who gathers it at the second attempt. Good move from Scotland. Curtis showing his two-footedness there, getting across him with the left foot. Shanklin chesting it into the path of Christie, who catches it well with the right boot. But the goalkeeper again equal to it. Scotland 1, Curaçao 1.
It's actually brilliant from Finlay Curtis. I would suggest you don't always have to beat the full-back in this occasion to get a cross in. He's just really touched it to the side. He's taken the full-back out because he's curled the ball round the outside there, and Lawrence Shanklin setting it up for the strike and goal, and it's a really good strike and goal as well. So I think Finlay Curtis has made a huge difference. He's not doing himself any harm in terms of getting himself in the eye line of the manager.
Chong just running into trouble there, and it's picked up by Christie in the midfield, and now McLean just inside his own half, quickly out to the left hand side for Robertson, who's well advanced, plays it to Curtis, who's just slightly infield of him, back out to Robertson, just had to check back, and he plays it to McLean first time ball in, just over Dykes, and the defender heads it. Well, that didn't look too far away from the target. It's behind for a corner. It was Obispo who made the defensive header. That could have been top corner bound. Almost came through on the right hand side for Christie, but not quite, and it's still Scotland corner, but Scotland 1, Curaçao 1.
Yeah, but you'd expect the pressure to be ramped up. Curaçao is struggling a little bit in terms of the manpower and the fitness, and the Kenny McLean left foot cross into the box causing a problem or two, and as you say, the defender don't know if he knew what he was doing or not, but thankfully for him it went by the upright.
Will be a corner kick, but the referee's got some sorting out to do inside a crowded 6-yard box. The sky's looking gloomier over Hampden, but the Scotland fans looking to get themselves a goal to celebrate here as Christie prepares to take the corner kick. He's rolled it in low and short to McLean, back to Christie, in for Shankland. He scored! Wonderful finish from Lawrence Shankland. He was outside the near post, but it's a brilliant angled effort in off the near post. The goalkeeper dived, but he couldn't keep it from getting into the back of the net. Lawrence Shankland with a typical Lawrence Shankland finish. Scotland 2, Curaçao 1.
It's an instinct, isn't it? It's an instinct to know where you have to make the run, and also the quality of the finish as well. And you don't have to, get too much on it, to be perfectly honest. It's a great set piece, well worked out on the right hand side, and when that ball comes in from Christie, I think it was, and he's just flicked it, isn't he? Well worked, good little ball into the path of Shankland. And he knows exactly what he wants to do. He doesn't, shows real good composure, gets that right foot on it and rattles it into the back of the net. But as far as set pieces goes, it's right up there.
Yeah, a lovely finish from Shankland. There's going to be a couple of changes here from Curaçao. Juninho Bacuna is coming off, and so is Levano Comenencia. So 2 midfield changes as Jeremy Antonis and Therese Noslin come on. Curaçao behind for the first time in the game as Lawrence Shankland notches his 5th goal for his country. He scored to make it 2-1 against Denmark on that famous night back in November, and he has put his side 2-1 ahead once more against Curaçao. It matters a lot less this afternoon than it did on that night, but Lawrence Shankland showing that despite, as you were saying earlier on, Willie, he'd been more active in this second half, but despite not being massively involved in the game as a whole, he is such a threat when he's presented with an opportunity.
Yeah, without doubt, that's when he comes alive, isn't it, in the box? But he can play outside the box as well. I just thought in the first half, he's getting himself, you can see it there, that he's getting himself into real good positions, but he's not getting much service.
Here he is at the edge of the penalty area, out to Curtis, back to Robertson, left hand side, swung in, nodded goalwards but wide, and Scotland close to a third there as Ryan Christie made that one just to the left of the penalty spot, but he just couldn't get it on target. It's a difficult one to do so at 61 minutes in. Scotland do have the lead, it's 2-1.
Yeah, but he's come in off off the wide area into a really good position and meets it. It's a very decent header. He's about a yard, maybe 2 yards wide of the post, but good power on it from Ryan Christie, and their tails are up. They want to take part in the game now. There's a relaxation about their play as well. There's a lot of confidence out there too, and you would imagine that we're going to see at least more attempts in goal, and again Shankland on the ball and playing a major part in building it up. For some reason in the first half that just wasn't happening. Maybe there was words at half time, maybe there was a discussion about it, but he's certainly been brought into the game more in the second half, and that goal certainly will give him much more confidence, and I'm sure he'll be wanting to take part even more and perhaps get a second one and make a real statement in the build up to the World Cup.
Both managers still at the edge of their technical areas, but Steve Clarke looking a lot more content now than he was when his side trailed to Dick Advocaat's side. Advocaat himself will be, I guess, pretty sanguine about the fact that with 11 players in the park, they were proving at least a match for Scotland, if not more, and now down to 10 that they trail. But it is the kind of adversity they could come up against when they get to the USA, where they take on Germany in Houston in their first game, then Ecuador in Kansas City before playing the Ivory Coast in Philadelphia. It is a massive occasion for them as much as it is for Scotland, maybe more so, you could argue. First time ever at a World Cup. 28 years is a long time to wait for Scotland. Curaçao have waited forever as they get the free kick on the right hand side, just inside their own half. I played 63 minutes almost. You're listening to BBC Radio Scotland and Radio 5 Live's coverage of Scotland against Curaçao, Scotland's final home warm-up game before the World Cup, as Christie threads it into Dykes. Dykes with a good ball for Shankland. Another chance for Shankland, and he scores again. What a strike that is from the new Rangers frontman. Brilliant link up between him and Dykes, you would have to say. Dykes put it on a plate for him, albeit Shankland still had a bit of work to do, but an unerring finish in off the far post this time, and on 63.5 minutes it's Scotland 3, Curaçao 1.
Well, he's having a lot of fun in the second half, Long Shankland, isn't he? His movement, I think, throughout the game has been pretty good. He hasn't had the service. He's certainly getting the service in the second half, and what a strike, what a finish that was. A lot of praise goes to Lyndon Dykes, who set it up. It was a perfect pass into the path of the Predator, and that's what he's been. That's what he's been in the second half. He's looked lively, he's taken part in the build-up, he's got his first goal, he's hungry for more, and my, what a strike that is. That's a tight angle. You know, he's not got a huge target to hit, and he picks it out absolutely perfectly with a lot of pace in it as well.
Yeah, as you say, the layoff from Dykes, he knows exactly where Shankland is. It's great awareness. Shankland, I said he laid it on a plate. That's maybe been a little bit generous, because Shankland still had to apply that finish, as you say, Willie, from a pretty tight angle. But we know he can do it. He knows he can do it above all. And now, if there was any doubt in Steve Clarke's mind, which I'm sure there wasn't, but he hasn't obviously always been a first pick, but he's certainly making a case to be one when the World Cup rolls into town in a couple of weeks' time. Here he is again now in a hat-trick, and he might be in for one as Dykes finds him again. It's Lawrence Shankland, he takes it on, but his shot is straight at the goalkeeper. He was under a bit of pressure as he looked over the defender's head, and the shot was relatively weak in the end, and it remains Scotland 3, Curaçao 1.
Oh, my money was on him to volley that one into the back of the net. I thought it was just about perfect. Didn't get a great angle from up here. See exactly why he didn't manage to get the power that I expected him to get on it. Looked as though it was just bouncing perfectly for him. He's in behind the defence as well, and the only thing that was disappointing about that was that the final strike on goal, he didn't get any power. It was a low one, it was an awkward one. It wasn't like Lawrence Shankland at all. What a hat-trick that would have been.
Yeah, and Dykes again involved with a link-up. I know that his involvement in the squad has been questioned, but he's been good since he's come on.
Yeah, you know, I think certain people will question him. I don't think I questioned him this afternoon, but I know there has been certain people that have been questioning whether Lyndon Dykes should be in the squad or not, but certainly playing a huge part in this game.
Some people not too far away from us in this gantry, perhaps, Willie Miller could be referring to, as Andy Robertson comes forward on the left-hand side. Good ball infield to McLean, who's barged into it. Might come for Curtis as a foul. The advantage is played, and then Shankland just tried to play it back into Curtis's path. The advantage had gone. It's back with the goalkeeper, and it remains Scotland 3, Curaçao 1.
So we're celebrating one pass. Makes a World Cup involvement.
Two passes, Tom. You must have been deeply engrossed in what you're writing in that.
Eulogizing this pass that our Lamont could have made.
Since when was the chief sports writer allowed to be involved in the commentary, Tom English?
I'm bowing out now.
Here's Ryan Christie at the byline, looking for a cut back, potentially tries to play the little nutmeg, but it doesn't come off. Scotland pick up again though, as comes to Dykes at the edge of the box, battling away there, can't get through, and Curaçao will try and come forward, but all of a sudden, Willie Miller, Scotland are finding spaces, gaps in this Curaçao lineup that simply weren't there in the first half.
They weren't, but to be perfectly honest, I was expecting that in the second half. I think Curaçao, you know, did also well in the first half, maybe marginally the better side, the way they played. They were good physically, they were very quick, they were defensively strong and quick on the counter. But in the second half, down to 10 men as well, although that one, it's a yellow card, and I think that's all that's required. I'm not too sure.
That's Tyler Fletcher
that put the challenge in there. It looked a rather meaty one, and the yellow card's been shown to him. But you expected Scotland to take control of the game in the second half. You know, they've had all of the ball basically, and then it's just a question of the quality in and around the box. And when you've got Shankland there, he's shown that quality. You know, the set piece, the free kick was very good, and it ended up in the goal, and then his second finish was was fabulous as well. So, you know, top marks to Long Shanklin. No doubts about his ability, of course, but with these 2 goals, it might just be that he gets that nod in the first game.
Castanier has had some treatment, but we are going to have another water break. I mean, I think these are being written into effectively the statutes for these friendlies as much as for the World Cup games. I don't think it's entirely necessary in this one, but it does allow us to get the thoughts midway through the second half of Rory Loy. It's a rosier picture now, Rory.
Yes, it is a much rosier picture. Listen, it's difficult to get a grasp. I know Steve Clarke can't help it, but Curaçao are down to 10 men, and as Willie touched on during the commentary there, they've actually went with the 3 up top, effectively Chong and Bakuna, to start the half, trying to get in touch with the substitute striker. So it's allowed Scotland a lot of space, a lot of gaps, and they've managed to take advantage of that. They really have. Shanklin loved the 2 finishes. He's unlucky with the third. I think he's trying to side foot it with power into the bottom corner, try and catch it on the half volley as opposed to the volley. He's capable of it, but maybe not the easiest finish in the world. But listen, Scotland have been far better in the second half, far more dominant, but the fact that Curaçao are still going to try and score goals, although they've barely been up the pitch and playing 3 up top, and the fact they're down to 11 men has definitely helped that. But Shanklin getting the 2 goals is huge.
Smallest nation by both population and area size to reach a World Cup, Curaçao, taking over the mantle that was held only momentarily by Cape Verde. But they showed, certainly in the first period when they had 11 players in the park, that they are not going to be a pushover at the World Cup. You would certainly expect Germany to beat them, but Ecuador and Ivory Coast might find them just a bit of a nuisance, let's say, at the World Cup. We're going to restart here with a free kick to Curaçao. We've got 20 minutes left of the opening period. We're just seeing a shot on our monitor here of Darren Fletcher watching his son Tyler make his Scotland debut, and going in the book just a moment ago for that challenge on Castanier. But looks like he's got a really promising career ahead of him. Tyler Fletcher, whose twin brother Jack, I think, has declared for England, and one Fletcher brother on one side of the Scotland-England divide and one on the other, perhaps. 3-1 it is to Scotland here against Curaçao, against the 10 men of Curaçao. After the first half red card that was shown to Locadia, and Scotland have certainly profited from that, scoring 3 goals since that point. The equaliser from Finlay Curtis in the stroke of half-time, and 2 second-half strikes from Lawrence Shankland, which Rangers fans will be looking forward to seeing more of that in the seasons to come, as Fletcher picks up midway inside the Curaçao half, gets it back, a little bounce pass with Christian. Now it's Kenny McLean out to the left-hand side for Curtis, who's been a little bit quieter in the last 10 minutes or so, but trying to make an impact here. And then he sends it to Robertson. His attempted cross is charged down by Yuri and Gary, and it'll be out for a corner kick on this near side. Scotland looking for a 4th goal, which would probably be a bit rough, you feel, on Curaçao. But they are definitely finding it hard work now.
Yeah, I mean, they are, and you would expect that. They worked extremely hard in the first half, I thought, to close Scotland down, so you're not surprised. I'm not surprised that the legs are beginning to show a little bit, and they're looking a bit weary out there.
Tyler Fletcher on corner kicks, right hand side, swings it to the back post, just over Shanklin there. Wasn't a bad delivery, but just a couple inches too much elevation in the end. But looking forward to seeing more of him in a Scotland jersey in years to come, Willie.
Yeah, one for the future, obviously, and getting an unexpected chance to impress the manager as well. And as Steve Clarke has said, that he's always on the lookout for the next generation, and with that 4-year contract, obviously that's a big part of the job that he's got now, because some of the more senior players are getting to a stage where, are they going to make the next World Cup? Possibly, but maybe not as well.
There's Robertson, who's one of those in question, now 32. I don't think it's out of the question for him if he stays fit, which has tended to do throughout his career. Here's Fletcher advancing. He's got Kenny McLean inside of him, but he clips it out to the left-hand side instead to Robertson, who brings it down on the chest and then finds Curtis. Curtis up towards the angle of the box on the left-hand side. Onto the right foot, sends it in. Shankland nods it down, but only to a Curaçao player in Noslin, but picked it once again by Scotland. Curaçao finding it difficult at this stage to keep a hold of the ball, and it really is a question for Scotland of how many they can get on the score sheet. It's Curtis once more, left hand side, looking to get the better of Noslin, just behind Lyndon Dykes with a cut back there, and cleared out for a throw into Scotland near side, quickly taken by Robertson. No let up here from the Scots as they look to add to their 3 goals. 3-1 it stands with just over a quarter of an hour left. You listen to BBC Radio Scotland and Radio 5 Live, our coverage of the Scotland national team, which will continue into the next friendly against Bolivia out in New Jersey, and indeed into the 3 group games of the World Cup, and we hope even further. Here's Christie, plays it square to Grant Hanley. Curaçao have got everyone behind the ball in their own defensive third. It's Robertson in field to Curtis, gets it back to his captain. Now Kenny McLean glances up, sends it towards the back post. Too much on it for Shankland, but it'll come to Patterson on the right hand side. Patterson tries to send it back in, and he'll take the corner. Deflection behind of a Curaçao body, and Scotland get the corner this time on the right hand side. 15 left on the clock. Scotland 3, Curaçao 1.
Yeah, it's a lot of hard work out there for Curaçao, isn't it? You know, they're virtually they're making no effort to get up the park, no effort to get into the Scotland half. They're just trying to soak up the pressure and keep the scoreline down.
Short corner taken. Christie gets it back once more, then cuts it back. Patterson lets it run. It'll come for Fletcher, about 30 yards from goal. Plays it square to Christie. Scotland preparing more changes as Patterson picks up, and he's fouled there, and he'll get a free kick in a really good position, right hand side, as he's taken down by Antonis. And Scotland will have a free kick almost in the angle of the box, right hand side, and this is a terrific position from which Andy Robertson looks like he's going to take responsibility here and try and deliver as Scotland prepare some more changes. Looks like James Wilson is going to be one of the players coming on. There's going to be a change in goal as well, as Liam Kelly is stripped, and Anthony Ralston also preparing to come on. But I don't think they're going to happen before this free kick, as Robertson stands over it, left-footed. Scotland captain sends it towards the back post, just beyond the on-rushing Dom Hyam, who's coming in and behind for a goal kick. Not a bad delivery, but just too much on it for Hyam to be able to stretch and knock it back across the goal. And Scotland will now make those changes with the scoreline standing. Scotland 3, Curaçao 1.
Yeah, a little bit disappointing, I thought, from Andy Robertson there. It was a really good position that he found himself in. He just hit it too hard, and he's hit it, you know, too far forward as well. Didn't give anybody an opportunity to get in the end of it. Of course, Lawrence Shankland now taking the applause, along with Andy Robertson making way for these changes.
Yeah, Wilson, who spent the second half of the season down at Spurs, but I think he's making his way back to Hearts, and it could be a replacement for Lawrence Shankland. Spurs not taking up their buy option on James Wilson, and he replaces Shankland in the Scotland lineup. Ralston's on for Andy Robertson, and the other change is Liam Kelly for Craig Gordon in goal for the closing 13 minutes as Curaçao come forward for more or less the first time in the second half, and Kelly already called into action, and the rebound is skewed well wide. In fact, it's going to go out for a throw-in over on the far side, but Liam Kelly, within seconds of coming on, forced to make a decent save there to deny Castanier.
Yeah, he had to be you know, sharp on his toes, to be perfectly honest, and he managed to parry it out. It wasn't a great parry, right enough. It was a poor finish, you know, pretty wide and high, but I think he's just relieved that he managed to get something on it, because when you come on and you're tested, and it didn't look, you know, he's been sitting there for the second half thinking that he's going to have virtually nothing to do, and then immediately he's called into action. So good reaction from the sub goalkeeper.
Yeah, it was moving in the air a wee bit there from the strike, and Kelly, who, like a number of Scotland players, hasn't seen a lot of first team action at Rangers in his case this season, as McLean feeds that into the box over Dykes. It'll come to Patterson. Back it goes to Tyler Fletcher. We've got just over 10 left in the second half. Scotland leading by 3-1. Here's Curtis, left hand side, looking to try and create something once more. His attempted cross is blocked there by the full back, and the throw in goes Scotland's way. Quickly taken back to Hanley and into Fletcher, who's got on the ball a lot. He's out there demanding possession, clearly a confident young man. Good pedigree coming through that Man United academy. It's fed in. Lyndon Dykes with a glancing header, but a comfortable save in the end for Eloy Rome. Dykes probably just needed to get a little bit better connection on that one, Willie, to test the keeper.
Yeah, a little bit more power behind it, get the forehead on it. It kind of slipped off the side of his head. Maybe should have done better there, but it was a good opportunity. It was well worked. It's well worked. I've got signals for Tom English, but maybe get what he's trying to say to me, at the full-time whistle, because we're not letting him back in again, Mr. Engineer. Okay, this is our territory. He'll be on later and you'll be able to listen to every word.
There's Kenny McLean feeding it into Wilson, out to the left-hand side for Ralston. Ralston in for Curtis. Curtis in a good position. He goes down, penalty kick. Curtis caught by the challenge there of Cheryl Florinus, and the penalty is awarded, and Finlay Curtis again making his mark on this game. Just sold the defender completely.
It looked a bit late when Curtis went to the ground. I thought that the defender coming in had actually missed the contact with him. We're maybe getting a little rerun of it just now, but it looked an awkward. I'm not sure if there was a contact. They will check it, I would imagine. Are they checking it? Maybe not.
Yeah, they will check. I think he just caught him in the end. Yeah. It's Julian Gary actually sliding in there.
I'm still not 100% sure.
I mean, the VAR check everything that happens in the penalty area, so it'll definitely be looked at. But
anyway, when a defender slides in like that and Curtis takes the ball back the way and really sells him a dummy, he deserves the penalty to be given against him. Don't think there was too much contact, but certainly enough to convince everybody, the match officials, that it is a penalty.
Ryan Christie's going to step up here to try and make it 4-1, and he does! Ryan Christie straight down the middle, more or less, as the goalkeeper dived to his right. And Scotland have a fourth goal, and all of a sudden it's looking rather emphatic. This didn't look on the cards in the early stages of the game, but Scotland have turned around against the 10 men, and all of a sudden the crowd around Hampden Park are on their feet rejoicing as Scotland are about to end that decade-long run without a home-friendly victory, and the saltires and the lion rampants are waved around the National Stadium. It's Scotland 4, Curaçao 1.
Cam head from Ryan Christie. The goalkeeper dives to his right, and it's just played towards the left. It's not right in the corner. It's kind of a middle goalkeeper's left, but it ends up in the back of the net, which is the most important thing. When you've got when you have that responsibility of taking a penalty, and it's putting a bit of gloss on the performance, put a bit of gloss on the result, and it's a good way to start the two friendlies. But it didn't look like that in the first half, but certainly in the second they've turned it round, and Finlay Curtis has turned the game around as well. I mean, there's a youngster that's made a huge impression. You would think that Curtis coming on as a sub and Shanklin with his 2 goals have been the most impressive players out there.
Ryan Christie with a 10th goal for his country on his 67th cap, stroking the penalty home as Gervain Castanier is booked by the referee for his challenge there on Grant Hanley. He was certainly having his shirt tugged by Hanley, but here comes Scotland again. It's Lyndon Dykes with a chance. Great save by the keeper to turn it over for a corner. Looked like Lyndon Dykes was going to add his name to the score sheet there with a first time effort, but terrific reactions from the goalkeeper to keep the scoreline at Scotland 4, Curaçao 1.
That was a great take, wasn't it, from Dykes? It was on the half volley, I would suggest, not an easy one to hit the top corner, and it looked as though it was heading towards the top corner. Was it Patterson that put the cross in? And it's a fabulous save, you know, little touch. That was goalward bound. Lyndon Dykes showing his prowess in front of goal.
It's a really, really good fingertip save from the keeper to deny him, as Lyndon Dykes looked to make it number 5 for Scotland. It will be a corner left-hand side to be taken by Tyler Fletcher. Swings it in right-footed towards the back post, and it's not behind again for another corner, this time on the far side. The Scotland right, as Scotland crank up the pressure. And well, we certainly didn't see this scoreline coming, not in a million miles, when Chong put Curaçao ahead after 17 minutes, and even approaching half-time, Scotland still trailed. But after the red card for Locadia, Scotland have taken charge, and here they are looking for a fifth as Christie swings it in from the right-hand side right into the keeper's arms on this occasion. And with 6 minutes left of the 90, it's Scotland 4, Curaçao 1.
Yeah, it's been a good workout, I think, for Steve Clarke and the players out there. I think the message from the first half is take nothing for granted when you play against Haiti. You know, it's still going to be a challenge, and Scotland really only dominating when you know, Curaçao went down to the 10 men, and they've really taken advantage of it in some good and impressive performances. As I said, Finlay Curtis coming on, very impressive. But Lawrence Shankland, I think, who's been hovering about and wanting to make more starts in the national setup, I think he's certainly staked a claim for that.
Second half, absolutely. As Scotland build once more, it's Christie right-hand side, slips it in. James Wilson right-hand side of the penalty area. Scotland have got another corner. Challenge made at the near post and not behind. Scotland look for a fifth goal, which would really round off the afternoon in some style. And well, I think it was Tom in our half-time was pontificating about the amount of Scotland fans that be left for Steve Clarke's address to the fans. And well, most of them have stayed behind. A few have gone already, but most are going to stay behind to hear what the manager has to say. As Christie swings in the corner, and this time the keeper has to punch clear. It almost swung straight into the back of the net. As Florinas picks up in a tight area, trying to get it clear. He's managed to get it out to the left-hand side, and Curaçao survive that particular foray forward. Scotland have got the throw in, though, quickly taken by Christie, who's got it back on the right-hand side, almost scoring direct from a corner a moment ago. That looked like a foul, but the assistant referee, who's only a yard away, is not moved by it, and so Curaçao are able to come away with possession with just under 5 to play of the 90. Scotland 4, Curaçao 1.
It's looking like the fans are enjoying themselves this afternoon. You know, the weather's fine. Too looks as though the majority are going to stay. Well, quite a sizable amount of them are going to stay anyway. To say farewell to the team, to wish them well, and to listen to, you know, Steve Clarke's message on the eve of them going over the pond to the USA, and these fans will wish him and the team ever so well.
The thoughts of Willie Miller as Kenny McLean goes for goal from distance, saved by the keeper and pushes it behind. Well, Kenny McLean, who has an eye for the spectacular here at Hampden, trying his luck from 35 yards. That was moving all over the place. Keeper pushes it behind. Scotland take the corner quickly. Christie rolls it to the edge of the box to McLean. You listen to the cries of shoot round the stadium every time he picks up possession. That's been given away by Ralston as Chong, the man who opened the scoring here at Hampden. He hasn't seen much of the ball since, but he's powering forward here for Curaçao. Sheffield United forward. He's eventually fouled, and Curaçao will get a free kick over on the far side. But what about that effort from Kenny McLean?
That was brilliant. It wasn't quite the halfway line, but you know, it's a good 30 odd yards, and you know, it's really a difficult one for Ruben Goal. He is behind it, you know, it's straight at him. He deals with it, but it's a really powerful strike and a fabulous effort from the Scotland midfielder. Well,
the Scotland fans again finding their voice as Their side are now cruising to victory with just over 3 minutes left. Curaçao have got a free kick though as they look to reduce the deficit. Left-hand side, swung in dangerously. The header comes in and it's over the top. Well, it was well won at the back post by Devon Fonville, but he couldn't find the target. That was an opportunity for sure. But it's still Scotland 4, Curaçao 1.
He should have done better, Fonville, on that occasion, because he had dropped his marker. You know, he was on his own. He hasn't met it with the forehead. I think it's come off his shoulder. No, he has met it with him. I'm watching a replay here. It's just a poor header from him. I was giving him the benefit of the doubt. I thought he had mistimed his jump there. He should have done much better.
Fletcher feeds it forward looking for Wilson, but too much on it, and that goes all the way through to Rome, who's been able to keep the score line down. A couple of really good saves in the last few minutes, because that Kenny McLean shot was had a bit of movement on it for sure, and the save from Lyndon Dykes just a few minutes before that, the fingertips keeping it at 4-1 to the Scots in the closing stages here. And the Tartan Army, well, at the beginning of the party, I don't think the party's ever really finished since the Denmark game, but it's going to really get going again over the next couple of weeks, as the Scotland fans were told between 20 and 30,000 are going to make their way across to the USA, which is just incredible when you consider the cost involved. But it speaks to the magnitudes of the occasion for the Scotland fans, many of whom will never have seen their country playing in a World Cup. They're going to get the opportunity in a couple of weeks as Wilson picks up right hand side of the penalty area, blocked by Chong, comes to Patterson, he sends it across, it'll come all the way across to Ralston, poor first touch, and Curaçao will pick up right hand side. Gary fouled there by Curtis, but play allowed to continue with Noslin in possession coming down the right hand side. He's also fouled, this time by Kenny McLean, and Curaçao will get the free kick more or less midway inside the Scotland half right hand side, as the fourth official prepares to show exactly how much will be added on. 3 minutes to be added on at the end of the scoreline. Scotland 4, Curaçao 1.
I'm probably expecting more time added on, but it is a friendly and that's got to be taken into consideration. But listen, the pace of the game's been of a high standard, isn't it? It's been played at a really fast pace, quite sportingly, I would suggest. Maybe the order north, perhaps not.
In comes a free kick from the right hand side by Sonis, but headed away by Scotland and picked up on the left hand side here by Curtis, who'll try and bring the Scots forward once more, having scored the equaliser and won a penalty for the fourth. There's Antonis once more picking up possession and playing out to the right hand side to Noslin. Swings it in from the right. That just takes a glance off the head there of Grant Hanley. Miscommunication there between Hanley and Kelly, but Hanley deciding to take the responsibility, glances it behind for a corner, but Liam Kelly was caught out by that almost, but it's behind. It will be a Curaçao corner kick in injury time. Scotland 4, Curaçao 1.
I would suggest he needed all his experience to deal with that one, Grant Hanley. Just a little flick as the cross came in. It was a wicked cross from the right hand side. He didn't want to take any chances. Didn't look as though there was much communication between him and Kelly and goal, but he dealt with it efficiently. Just a little flick, putting it out for the corner.
To be taken on the left hand side here by Jeremy Antonis, met at the near post by Lyndon Dykes. It will come to Chong at the edge of the box. Can he send it back into the danger area? Brings it out to the right hand side. Tracked by Dykes, back it goes to Noslin. Chong once more, all the way back to the halfway line. Scotland can try and come out a little bit. They're still sitting pretty deep just outside the penalty area as it's swung out to the left hand side. Christie gets his head to it. It'll be another Curaçao corner. They're ending the game pretty much in the manner they began it, in the positive sense, Curaçao, but they do trail by 4-1.
Yeah, it's been a disappointing scoreline for them. I think there's reasons for it, and certainly the second half they've been below par, but the first half I think would give Dick Advocat hope for a positive World Cup.
In comes a corner, this time it's a near post ball glanced on as Hanley gets in the way of it at the edge of the 6-yard box. Curaçao looking for a second goal, and it's a good save from Liam Kelly. That was hit from distance by Tyrese Noslin again, and Kelly once again equal to it. Back in it comes from the left hand side, headed away at the Scotland defence, and they could be here in the break. It's Curtis. He's got Wilson outside of him to the right. That's where the ball goes. Wilson tries to find him again, but Curaçao have got bodies back. It's not back to the keeper, and it's cleared by Rome up towards the halfway line. The counter-attack just didn't quite have enough about it there, and Curaçao able to mop things up as we enter the final few seconds. Switched out to the right-hand side to James Wilson. The young man plays it back in field to Tyler Fletcher. There's a full-time whistle. Scotland have their first home friendly victory in over a decade, the first since March 2016 when they beat Denmark by a 0-0. This time 44,433 fans have watched them beat Curaçao by 4-1. That does not tell the full story of this match, in which Curaçao went ahead after 17 minutes when Thais Chong on the counter-attack went through and struck the ball in off the post and past Craig Gordon to give the visitors the advantage, which they held almost until the interval. But just before that, they had Locadia red carded after a VAR check for a challenge on Aaron Hickey, and that was deemed worthy of a red in the end by the Georgian officials. And so off he went, and that was swiftly followed by the equaliser. Finlay Curtis on in the first half as a substitute for the injured Billy Gilmore, with a finish from Kenny McLean's pass to make it one apiece at the interval. Into the second period, Lawrence Shanklin came to the fore with a quick fire double just around the hour mark. Two excellent finishes to put Scotland in charge of the game, and 3-1 up. A raft of changes as usual in the second period from both sides, but Scotland were able to add to their tally once more as Curtis went down under the challenge by Gary, and Ryan Christie from the penalty spot stepped up and made it 4-1. And Willie Miller, you've watched the game with me. Difficult to gauge, as you said during commentary, in terms of Curaçao going down to 10 men, because with 11 in the park they were every bit as good, if not marginally better than Scotland. But it's not every day Scotland win a game by 4-1, and so there will still be some valuable lessons in there for Steve Clarke.
Without doubt, I mean, there's a lot of positives in the game, particularly in the second half, and a learning position probably in the first half, because Curaçao were pretty good, and I thought marginally better than Scotland, so that is a lesson, you know, when they go into that Haiti game. But in the second half, they took advantage of the extra man, and the big plus for me is Lawrence Shanklin. You know, I think his 2 goals were supremely well taken. Shanklin, we know he's a predator. I thought he was out of sorts in the first half, but he took more part in the game in the second half. He was coming off. He was linking the play, you know, from midfield to front. But his 2 goals were superbly taken. That's the quality that he's got. He had another chance to make it 3, which would be hugely disappointed in, I'm sure, because if he'd have taken it first time on the volley, I think he would have found the back of the net. But that, for Steve Clarke, must be a positive for Long Shanklin, looking to perhaps start that first game of the World Cup. But overall, the fans can go away happy. They're enjoying, you know, what's left of this afternoon. They're applauding the players. They deserve that applause. It's been a long time since Scotland's been able to leave Hampden and go to a World Cup. They've now just got to make that a positive experience over in the old US of A.
Yes, absolutely. Scotland players on a lap of honour around Hampden Park, which is still about half full, as the supporters stand and applaud them as they make their way around the pitch. And we should mention Curaçao as well. 800 or so of their supporters coming to Hampden this afternoon, and they are still in pretty jubilant mood by the looks of it over there, as the players make their way and say their thanks to them, and that's reciprocated, and they will be a good addition to the World Cup, you feel, on and off the pitch. But the Scots will very much be that as well, and they have rounded off this final home warm-up game